Now we are going to see about the relationships, right? The relationships are very important because without relationships, you cannot use your most of the DAX functions. Without relationships, you cannot visualize your data onto the visualization. So relationship is required, like even for when you want to visualize your data from multiple tables, right? Let's say you want to get some columns from your customer table, some columns you want to get from your customer invoices table. Okay, and using this, you want to visualize some information. If you do not have any relationship between your tables, then you will not be able to visualize that. Okay, and even like most commonly used DAX functions also require the relationships. Okay, all right. So let's see how we can use the relationships and how we do it. Okay, so very first thing is like when you load the data in Power BI desktop, then Power BI bring the relationships from your data source also. If your data is coming from any data warehouse, if your data is coming from any like cloud database, like any ERP system, any CRM system, okay, then what happens? Power BI bring the relationships or like linking of the tables along with the data during the data load in Power BI. Okay, so that means when you load the data in Power BI, it means you are loading the relationships also. That is the first thing. Second thing is when you are loading the relationships, then Power BI automatically detects the relationship between your tables. Okay, so how to see it? Just go to this relationship tab. This is model tab. Okay, so under this model tab, you can see all your tables which you have in your data model, right? And here you can see a complex view of your tables. Like these are there are like multiple lines. They are related to with each other based on some cardinality, some relationships, right? So this seems like a bit confusing. The thing is, we did not created these relationships, right? So what is relationship basically? This line you see here between these two tables, this is a relationship. Okay, so this is a relationship line. So these relationships we haven't created. These have been automatically created by Power BI, right? So what we do not want to enable Power BI to create the relationships automatically. Why? Sometimes it is useful also, but most of the time I feel that it's harmful. Why? Because if you are just loading the data and Power BI detecting the relationship automatically, then you are completely relying on Power BI created relationships. You don't know that how your two tables linked with each other. Even if something uh, like got wrong or something, you are not able to get the exact value, then you do not have the idea that what is the relationship, what is the primary key of your table, what is the secondary key of this table, how these two tables are behaving with each other. If you do not know, then you will not be able to troubleshoot the issues which you will face during the visualization and during the data formation or like during the DAX formula creation. Okay, so that's why what I say here, you have to disable this auto detect feature and you have to create the relationships by your side. Because when you will create relationship, then you will dig deeper into your tables and you will understand that which is the primary key column of the table, which is having this information in another table. Okay, based on that you will get a more understanding about your tables. Okay, generally what people do, people just get started using these relationships, and these relationships are not all the time correct. Okay, these will be correct, yes, but these will be correct sometimes only when you are getting the data from the highly normalized database, like some data warehouses or like some cloud databases which is like designed by Microsoft, like with by considering all the things. Okay, then you can leverage this functionality. But although it is not a time taking process if even you create the manual relationships. Okay, so first let's disable this functionality which is loading the data here automatically. Okay, which is loading these relationships. For that, you have to go in File, go to Option Settings and Options. In this setting window, you have to disable it, right? So in this setting window, you have two types of setting, right? You have two types of setting. The one is you have which will be applicable for your product, right? Means global setting. And one is for current file setting, right? So which means if you make any change in all these settings, those will be applicable on your product, on your Power BI desktop. Okay, and these will be applicable on only on your file. It means if you open a new file, then you have to again make the changes in these settings, because these are for this current file and this is for global. It means for Power BI desktop. Okay. So it doesn't mean like if you changed your, if you disable the Power BI like these relationship ones, then it will be automatic, like always it will be like disabled. No, when you will open a new file, then again it will start getting the data automatically, right? Because we are going to change this setting under the current file data load, right? So here you see two options under the relationship tab. There is one, import relationship from data source on first load, and auto detect new relationship after data is loaded. So what happened here, when we loaded the data, right, the relationships have been created automatically. So let's disable this auto detect. At least if you do not want to use the source relationships, then you can disable this also. Okay, but it's up to you. But I recommend you that never use this auto detect feature, because sometimes it may create the wrong relationships also. Because what it does actually, it just looks the column names. Okay, if the column names are same, then it will just build the relationship, no matter that whether the data is correct, data is same in those columns or not. It just look for the column names. So click OK. Now this functionality has been disabled only for this file. Now we need to delete these relationships. Okay, so how to delete? Just right click on any relationship line and delete that. So it is very difficult to delete all the relationships one by one. So let's see in one go how we can delete. Under this home tab, you have a manage relationships, right? So most of the things you will handle through this manage relationship button. You can see here all these relationships you have, right? Somewhere you see that few relationships are active and few are not active. So where you see this check mark on this active, it means this is active relationship, and some other inactive relationships also. If you see the relationship line, let me zoom in. If you see here, some are the solid lines and some are the dotted lines, right? So these dotted lines means these are the inactive relationships, and the solid line means it is active relationship. All right. The point is, what is the benefit of keeping these inactive relationships in your data model? Because inactive relationships plays a very important role during your data modeling using DAX. Means these inactive relationships also can be used by defining some functions and by just using for any custom data visualization. Okay, I'll show this example for you. This is a very interesting thing. Okay, because if you have, the point is why the requirement, why what's the importance of keeping these inactive relationships actually? Because between two tables you can enable only one active relationship. Between two tables, let's say in this order details and not customer, between these two tables I can enable only one active relationship. But due to any requirement, you want to enable, you want to set up more relationships, then you can't do that. Why? Because only one active relationship can be there. So what you can do, you create relationship and you inactive them. Okay, so now you have three relationships, but one is active, two are inactive. But in case if you want to use those inactive relationships also, then using some DAX functions you can use them. Okay, that is the importance actually of inactive relationships. Okay, so how to delete the relationship? Just go here, manage relationships window, select all, press Ctrl A, and then you can press the delete key from your keyboard, or you can just press delete from here also. All relationships have been deleted. We'll just refresh the window for within few seconds. Yeah, it's done. Now you don't have any relationship between your tables. Now, when you want to create the relationships, you have two ways. One is auto detect and the second is manual. So to see auto detect, it is very straightforward. Just click on this auto detect button and it will detect all your relationship between your tables. So it detected 22 new relationships between your tables. Some may be active, some may be inactive. All right, so it created all relationships here in one go. But now you are not very sure whether these relationships are the correct or not. Why? Because Power BI just looks for the column names, and in two tables if there is like two columns having the same name, then it will create the relationship on that. Okay, so it is very harmful, so we should not use this auto detect feature. Let's see how we can create the relationships manually. deleting it. All right, so again, going to the manage relationship. Now you have a new button here, just click on it. Here you have to choose your two tables, between them you want to create the relationship. Okay, relationship can be created between two tables only. Okay, so here you select your first table. Say I select products table here, and the second table I want here order details. Got that? So between these two tables I want to enable the relationship. So the relationship would be created based on the product ID column. So I select the product ID column in both the tables. Okay, by default Power BI will automatically select the column for you based on the column names and based on the data, right? Based on the data. Even in when Power BI create the relationships auto detect in an auto detect mode, it looks for the column name, and along with column name it looks for the data also, but not all the data. Okay, just few, like some top 1,000 rows or 2,000 rows only. It doesn't look for all the records. Okay, so if it finds some matching between your columns data, then it creates the relationship. Okay, so here you have a chance, actually at least you can review your relationship, like you are going to build the relationship between products and order details table based on the product ID column. Yes, which is right, you can do that. Okay, now next you have here cardinality option. So cardinality is nothing but it's just like a way how your tables will be connected, right? So the cardinality is automatically selected one to many, right? Like this is your dimension table and this is your fact table. So the cardinality would be one to many. If first I choose order details and then I choose products, then the cardinality would be many to one. Let me show that. I select order details and then I select products. So now cardinality is many to one. So what does it mean, cardinality? Cardinality is basically, first it is four type. One to many, right? Many star, this asterisk represents many. And second is many to one, and one to one, and many to many, right? So this represents something like when you have two tables, customer and customer invoices. So in customer, you have a customer ID column. In that customer ID column, you will be having the unique values. It means for one customer ID, there will be only one row. Okay, so that's why this is having the one record. Okay, and on the other hand, in your customer invoices table, you may have multiple lines for one customer ID. That makes sense, because for one customer ID we may have multiple invoices. So there are like 10 lines for 10 records for one customer ID in your customer invoices, but in your customer header, in your customer master table, you will have only one line for one customer, right? So it means here you have one, but here you have many, right? So that's why this asterisk shows you many. Okay, so the cardinality would be one to many. When I say like with respect to order details table, it is many to one. With respect to products, it is one to many. Okay, so this cardinality would be automatically selected. If you want, you can change that also, right? But generally we do not change it because the cardinality which we want, Power BI automatically selects for you. Now next you have to make this relationship active or inactive. It's up to you whether you want to create this inactive relationship. You can just uncheck this box, or if you want to create active relationship, just select it, right? There is one more thing, cross filter direction. By default we keep it single. Why it is single and what is it actually, I'll come to this point later. Now just click on OK. Here you will see your relationship has been created. Just close this window and here you will be able to see that relationship line. Takes just few seconds to refresh this window. Now you can see this relationship line here. If you hover, if you select this relationship line, you can see like relationship is created based on these columns. Right? So this is manual way. It was a little bit lengthy way, like because first you click here and then you click on this new, then you choose two tables, right? So it is something like a time taking process. But if you want to create relationships quickly, then there is another way, that is just drag and drop. Okay, but be careful when you do the drag and drop. Let me show you how. Like, and I know that between products and order details table, relationships should be created based on the product ID, because for products table, product ID is the primary key, and for this table it is the foreign key column. Okay, so I select it, product ID from here, drag it and drop it onto the product ID column of order details table. That's it. Your relationship has been created, right? But make sure when you are drag and drop it, you drop it onto the correct column, because if you drop it on wrong column by mistake, then Power BI is not going to stop you. It will create the relationship, but that will be wrong. That will be invalid. Let me show you. Like I drag product ID, but instead of dropping it on the product ID, I dropped it by mistake on the order ID, right? Now relationship will be created, right? So you see here, now relationship has been created based on product ID and order ID, which is a wrong relationship. Okay, got that? This is very important thing to make the relationship and to understand the relationship between your tables. You can create the relationship based on multiple columns also, right? But what you need to do, you need to first create a concatenated value, right? Let's say I want to create a relationship based on product ID and product name. So here I will create a custom column. In that column, I will have the concatenated value of product ID and product name. And here also I will create the product ID and product name concatenated column. And then on those two new columns, I will create a new relationships. Okay. All right. Now let's see that what is the importance of these relationships. Right now I have the relationship between these two tables, right? Now I'm going to visualize the data from these two tables. So I'm going to add this cluster column chart. And I'm going to add products. I want to show the total sales by products. Okay. So add the product name from the products table. And from order details, I'm going to add total sales, right? Total revenue. Let me just increase the text size of x-axis. All right. Now you can see here total sales, total revenue by products. But if you notice here that for each product, you have the different revenue, right? Like for example, for this product, revenue is around like 150K. For this product, revenue is 88K. For this product, revenue is 76K, right? Notice one thing that on this visual, on this bar chart right now, data is coming from two tables. Which two tables? Order details and products. You can see the highlighted, this yellow check mark basically tells us that on this selected visual, data is coming from these tables, right? So right now data is coming from two tables and it is populating correctly. Why? Because we have the relationship between these two tables. Okay. If I do not have the relationship, then how the data will be visualized? Okay, how the data will be visualized in this visual. Let's see that. I'm going to just inactive this. Either you can delete or I'm just going to inactive this relationship. When I inactive it, it means now there is no valid relationship between these two tables. Now let's see what's the situation of our visualization. You see here, each product revenue is showing 1.35 million, which is invalid. Why? Because now these two tables are not having any relation to communicate with each other, right? Got it? So now I hope you understood that why relationship is important. So if you do not have the relationships between your tables, you will not be able to visualize the data properly from the multiple tables. From one table you can visualize, but in this scenario we are trying to visualize the data from order details and from products, but we do not have the active relationship between them, then we cannot visualize it. Got it? Let's enable it. Enable the relationship and now go back. All right. So is that
Could just take us through what data we're getting from in this visual? What is it referring in the order and the products table?
what is okay? So for that, you mean like which columns?
Yeah.
So just expand this table, order details. Here you will see that the selected column is this total revenue. In the same way, just expand the products also. You will see the selected column is product name for this visual.
Okay. It's taking the product name from the product and relating that product name with the sales data table. And
yes, with the order details table.
Yeah.
Based on the relationship, and the relationship is based on product ID column to product ID column.
Oh, the relationship is between product IDs, but you have chosen product names. Okay.
Yeah, so that's not an issue because I have define that this row is linked with this row. So you can leverage any other. Yep, yeah.
Got it. Or you could also like see which products had a more discount. Is that possible? Like another visual around that.
Yes, that everything we can do. That is the visualization thing. Okay. So then I'll show you everything. Okay. But the point is like when you want to visualize something from like multiple tables, then you must have the relationships between those tables. Okay. If you want to visualize the data from only one table, then no need the relationship with other tables, because you are just visualizing the data from one table. You are not going in other tables to just get the data. Okay. Then relationships are not required. But if you want to visualize data from multiple tables, then you will have to visualize through the relationships.
Thank you, man.
Okay. Next question I can see here. Can you share example of one-to-many with visualization? This is one-to-many relationship. This is one-to-many relationship, right? See, one-to-many and many-to-one. It depends on you with respect to which table you are talking. If I say how order detail is connected to product, so I'll say, because now I'm talking about in respect to order detail. So order detail is connected to product based on many-to-one. Okay. And when I say like how product is connected with order detail, so it is connected to one-to-many. Okay. So it is something like it's the same thing like when you say like, okay, so what's my father's name? Okay, this. And what's my father's son name? This. So it depends like, and with respect to which table you are asking. Okay, got it? Yeah. So many-to-one is means from order details to products. Okay, from order details to products, it is many-to-one, right? And when you say like in respect of products table, then it is one-to-many. Got it? And many-to-many is where you have multiple values for the one column, okay, in both the tables. Let's say you have item, you have the inventory table, and in that inventory table, yes, you may have the multiple rows for one item, and in another table, let's say that is your warehouse receiving table, right? So in that table also you may have like multiple entries, multiple records for one item, right? So here what you have in your inventory table also you have multiple records for item number. In your warehouse receipt table also you have multiple records for item number, for product number, right? Then when you will connect the data, when you will connect these two tables, so the cardinality would be many-to-many, because in any table you do not have the unique item numbers, you do not have the unique product numbers, right? So that's why the cardinality would be many-to-many. Okay, and one-to-one is like simple, just suppose this vice versa of many-to-many, when you do not have any duplicates, when you have the unique values in both the tables, then your relationship would be one-to-one. All right. Okay, so I can see another question here. Okay, we related by product ID, which is unique value, right? Yes, you're right. Product ID value was unique in this products table because product ID column was the primary column. This is the primary key column for this table. Okay. Many-to-many example. Okay, so let me show you one many-to-many example. Okay, so many-to-many relationship is like a new relationship. It's a new addition, right? In Power BI. Earlier, this was not a part of many-to-many. So what people were doing, people were creating a bridge table, right? How bridge table? We just create a scenario here. Okay, so here I have one customers table, right? In this customer table, I have the country, right? And I have another table also, employees table, right? So in employees also I have one country table, right? Okay, so now when I connect these two tables, customer and employees, we just get those two tables, where them. So this is my customer table, okay, and this is my employee table. So you can see one thing here, as I have only 18 tables right now, right? So it is very like difficult for me to find my tables and to make the relationships between them. So what you can do, you can create another view of your tables. Okay, how? Just click on this new layout, right? So this is your new layout, and in this new layout, you can add your tables, right? How you can add? Just click on this here, and I want to make a relationship between employees and customers. So drag and drop these two tables here directly, right? So now it's a neat and clean layout where you do not have like unnecessary 30, 40, 50 tables. You have only two tables, and I want to work between these two tables. So easily I can work here. So I want to create a relationship between these two tables based on the country column. So I drag and drop country to country. Now, when you are trying to create a relationship between them, then you see a warning message. This relationship has cardinality many to many, right? So it's just a warning. Click OK. And now you see it is showing the asterisk for both the tables. It is many to many relationship, right? Now, what is the requirement actually? See, when you want to work, so let's say you want to get a unique table or a unique or a list of total countries. Okay, you want to extract the data from any table, and that table you want to treat that table as your dimensional table. Okay, as your master table. So what you can do, the one way is you can create a bridge table, means you can get the distinct value of the country in one table, and that in that table you will be having the unique values, right? Then that table you can link with both of these two tables. This is the one way. Okay, but now when you have the many to many relationship, now you don't need to create another table, because the same thing you can easily achieve from here. Why? Because when you will visualize the data for the country, then it will filter out the data in both the direction, right? So many to many relationship works with both direction filter, right? So how it works, let's say, let me just create another page here. I'm going to create two tables here. One table I'm going to show, let's say, product name, and in another table I'll show the order details. This is my one table, and in the second table I'm going to show in this table I'm going to show order ID, product name, and total revenue. All right, so now what is the importance of this arrow button here? Okay, so this arrow button is this cross filter direction, right? So this cross filter direction enables the visualizations to filter out the data based on one direction or based on two direction, right? So what is it? Right now the relationship is one to many, like from products to orders. So when I select any product here, let's say if I select this chocolate product, so it filtered the data in my orders table, right? You see here that only these two tables are selected, right? Order details and products. Okay, when I select any product, so it filter the details of the orders, right? So this is one direction filter. It means if I select any product, then order details will be filtered for that product. If I want something like, if I select this order, right? If I select this order, then all the products should be filtered which are in this order, right? Let me just remove the unnecessary columns from here, as it will be confusing. Okay, so this is order ID, right? So for this chocolate product, I have these 6 orders, right? And now if I want to check vice versa, like in this product, in this order, how many products I have, that is not filtering right now. Okay, so it means filter direction is one. It means from product to order details data is filtering. But in case if I want something like I want to see all the products which I have in this order, so what I do, I will select the order ID, and based on this order ID, all the products should be filtered here, okay, into the products name, like which products we have into this order. So this is not filtering right now. Why? Because we haven't enabled the both direction filter. So let me just go to that relationship, enable the both direction. Now we have enabled filter direction in both. So now whenever I will select any value in products, then order details will be filtered. Whenever I will select any value in order details, then product table will be filtered. So now you see here, when I select any order ID, my products table is filtering, right? So now this is both direction filter. When I select any product, order data will be filtered. Got it? So this is cross filter direction. Either it can be single or it can be both direction. So based on a requirement, you can enable it. Okay, so in the same way, like when you have the many to many relationship, then if you have enabled in the both direction, then you don't need to create a bridge table. You can just use that table as a master, as a dimension table. Okay, and it will be used for all your relationship between your all the tables. Okay, and you can enable the cross filter direction in the both direction. All right, so let me check questions. Yes, we can see the same results for one to many and many to one, right? This is just like a way, like in context to order table, if we say, then it is many to one, and in context of products table, it is one to many. So many to many relationship basically we create usually when all the unique values we do not have in each the table, right? Sometimes we may have some scenarios like we do not have any unique column, okay, in the tables. So what we can do, we can create a relationship between them, then the relationship would be created as many to many. All right. What you said, many to many is like Excel slide filters. I don't think so. It is like Excel slide filters, because many to many actually you can use in multiple ways for writing the DAX expressions also. But if you are just trying to compare the functionality, then yes, you can do that also. But like many to many you can use for writing the for writing the DAX expressions, for extracting the data from one table to another table based on some like logics. That also you can do with many to many relationship. Okay, I can see on question. Can you please share the example of many to many relationship by using concatenate function? Okay, so for example, if you have a table, right? In that table, let me just show that here. So you have this table that is your product ID, right? P01, P1, P2, P3, P4, right? These are your products, right? But this is valid, right? In this products table, you have the unique data when you have only one record for P1. This is your products table. This is your number, product number column. And here you have one sales table, right? In this sales data, you have sales ID and you have product number. Here you have sales ID, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fine. Product number is, let's say P1, P1, P2, P3, and this is your again P3. And this is your column is QTY, quantity. You have 3 quantity, 4 quantity, 2 quantity, 6 quantity, and 3 quantity for it. Okay, now what I want to visualize the data, right? Let's say just to show total quantity by products, right? So product number you will get from this table, okay, and quantity number you will get from this table. Before that, you will create a relationship between these two tables, right? Based on which column? Based on this column, right? All right. Now, once you have the relationship, then you can easily show that for P1, how much sales, how much quantity you have. Sum of this, it means 7. For P2, how much you have? 3. And for P3, how much you have? 9, right? So this will be the output of this data. But let's say one scenario, you have another column here, right? Country, right? And this is the country code C1, and this is like C1 for all the records. But you have the P1 same code, the same product you have, but this is for the another country, right? And in the same way also, you have this country column in your transactional data also. So now what will happen here when you will try to create a relationship between this and this, you will see a error. Why? You will not be able to create, because now in this table you do not have the unique products. Why? Because the unique key now should be the combination of product number and the country, because for this country these are the unique. Okay, but this same product can be also created for the another country. So in this situation, what you will do, you will first create a concatenated value of these two columns, right? Either you can concatenate or directly in merge query also you can extract. There are like multiple ways, but what you will do, you will concatenate the value, right? How you will concatenate? Like very simple, like p1 hyphen c1, right? Something like this. Here also you will create the same thing, p1 and c1 for all the records, right? Now you will have the unique value. This value will be always unique, right? Because now it is based on the combination of product number and the country. Now, instead of making the relationship between the product number and product number here, now you will create the relationship based on this column, right? And this will be always unique, because here you will be having always one and here you will be having many. So the relationship would be one to many. Otherwise, if you try to create relationship based on this column to this column, then your relationship would be many to many, which will not be useful for you. But the point, like where you may require to create such kind of key column, just combination of like multiple columns where you find like the uniqueness of the values. Okay. All right, that's it.